The man in the video has since been identified and fired by his firm, which says we take seriously any inappropriate behavior by any employee, whether inside or outside the workplace.
Anti-Afro Svengalis. You're going to hear a little bit more about the situation that just appeared on the screen. I thought I would do an update, a revisit regarding making reports and filing complaints, whether it's with regulating boards, employers, law enforcement, local police, FBI. It's very important to make sure you file the complaint with the proper source. So here I wanted to show you some outcomes. Since 2018 is when I started filing complaints, like sending in complaints. This is the tally. I think this is pretty close to accurate. If there's any change, it would be on the upward end. So I just quickly went through my records and pulled up these numbers. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about this, but first I want you to hear what happened to this young lady in New York. Stay tuned and I will return.
Sir, for what fucking reason? For what reason? For what reason did you take my wig off? Because what made you think that was the good thing to do? What made you think that was the good thing to do?
Please.
For what? For what? Why did you do that? What makes you think that that's okay? Is that funny? Is that funny?
Apologize.
You don't even fucking know me.
No,
Do you hit women or something?
Please.
Why did you take my wig off and keep walking?
There's no reason.
For what, sir? Why?
You just apologize, leave.
Why?
Just say it.
Why did you take my wig off and just walk away?
Please.
Because what? Why?
Please.
Nah, have a nice one. Have a nice day. You're nice as fuck. Him, he needs somebody to beat his fucking ass. I'm dead ass.
Hello, Anthony Ulrich of New York City. As a lawyer, I hope I don't have to explain this to you, but what you did is called assault. Keep your hands to yourself. Don't go around pulling wigs off random people in the street. To the victim, I'm sorry this happened to you, and if you plan on pressing charges, this is the person's name.
It only took hours after Brooklyn singer Lizzie Ashley posted this video that it went viral. Millions outraged that her crown and glory had been rudely snatched off her head last Saturday night. In this surveillance video obtained by Eyewitness News, you can see her walking down 6th Avenue towards West 34th Street. And in the top left corner, her head is seen jerking backwards.
What gave you the right?
I didn't show that part to the world, but I definitely broke down in tears because I'm like, why did that happen?
He continues to walk away, his friends urging him all the while to apologize. The man in the video has since been identified and fired by his firm, which says we take seriously any inappropriate behavior by any employee, whether inside or outside the workplace.
Y'all found him in less than 12 hours. TikTok still amazes me, bro. So thank you to everyone who found him and I guess reported him to his company, because it was like, 2, I called the police. All of this happened today, by the way. 1 a.m. it happened. By 12 o'clock, y'all, in the next day, well, no, same day, y'all gave me his info. Around like 3 o'clock, I called the police and I put in a report. I went to the doctor. They're like, why you go to the doctor? The police said go to the doctor. They was like, check everything. The doctor said my neck area is very tense, as if like a traumatic event, not like a car accident, but when you have anything, it was a shock. And he said it's very tense and I need muscle relaxers. So he gave me muscle relaxers.
First off, I want to point out the moral of this story. There are several. I'll pick out one that comes to mind. Don't broad brush people based on any sort of class that they're in or group that they're in. In this instance, race. Yeah, you have a white dude perpetrating a crime against a black woman, but you have a white man that came forward and identified him first. And people outraged. How many people do you think, based on race, filed a complaint with that law office? Because that law office was deluged with complaints. When it comes down to it, it's about what somebody does to you. That's how I operate. I'm going to address a person based on what they did. And if they are taking privileges and liberties based on their race, I'm going to call them out. This applies to this attorney here. He thought as a white man, he could do whatever he wanted to a black woman. We have a white attorney up in here who thinks she can say and do what the hell she wants because we're black folks. Now I'm going to call that shit out, and I'm going to call you KKK. Yes, because your behaviors based on your own statements, based on your own actions, is because you're discriminating against us. I don't have to be quiet about that. So I'll make damn sure I will open my mouth and speak when race is invoked. 100% of the time, I'm going to file a complaint. When, where, and how I do it, that's up to me. You don't dictate to me when I send something in, who I send it to. Broad brushing is what you call a lack of courage, putting one group all together. And this is a situation that debunks that. And also want to debunk the issue with police. It doesn't matter how many videos appear with the police acting a fool. I'm going to find the police. They're going to do their job. They're going to do the right thing by me, which is why I have an issue with Tiff P's comments. Interesting. This goon, this guy gives me the creeps looking at him. This creep, an attorney, doesn't matter what your title is. It matters what your conduct is. You can have all the degrees in the world, all the education from here to kingdom come. What is your value system? How do you act? What do you say? What do you do? How do you treat people? That's what matters. And there are subjects around here, demons, that don't comprehend this. That is not my problem. I have a firm, strong, verified belief that most people are decent. Because that's my experience. You're not going to get me to think most people are evil because demons are running around here trying to convince you otherwise. That's their problem. You're evil. You're just evil. You're not impacting my world. You're not going to get me to change my value system. You can't hijack my character. So go kick rocks. You can talk about me all day, every day. You are not going to make me feel differently about myself based on what you say about me. I don't even deal with these people. They're up here trying to get some reaction out of me. People are telling me, you're not getting anything out of me. Absolutely will never, ever get out of me what you want. You will not get it. So you can keep trying to make fools out of yourselves. Like you've done for how long? Forever and a day. As for the cops, they're telling her you need to go get medical treatment. They don't care, Tiff P. Tiff P puts out this scenario that asserting your rights is to be ridiculed. Filing complaints leaves you in the position of being a cry wolf character. Filing complaints subjects you to being looked at like you got some sort of problem. No, people, let me explain something. Filing a complaint has everything to do with a separate incident. Obviously, you don't call the police or contact an agency and report the same incident over and over. New incident. Even if it's on the same day, you're saying something different. That's a violation. That's a potential criminal act or otherwise actionable. Separate incidents. Something would be really wrong if someone called the authorities and repeated the same thing over and over and over and over again, the same incident. That doesn't make any sense. Who's doing that? You know anyone doing that? That doesn't apply to anybody that I'm dealing with. And as far as being investigated, well, the way she's characterizing it, who in the hell is going to take somebody's word for anything? Even if you give a clip from YouTube, and this is absolutely what happened, you have the timestamp, you have the link. Even if the person has deleted the video, the police can access that from YouTube. But let me tell you about deleting the video. There's two separate situations. And the Catherine Brown case comes into mind. We have the timestamp and we have the words and we have the link and all of that. That's one thing. But to tell the police somebody threatened me or somebody's harassing me, I don't recall the date. I don't know the video but this is the person's channel, but the channel got deleted. She got TCTV's channel down. That's why we don't go for channels, people. Keep your channels up. It's easier. Where are they going to go? As far as law enforcement, they're not going to go running through channels because you say they said this and you don't remember. You need to help out the police. We have the actual timestamp. We have the actual video. So they can go to YouTube and get it to make sure it hasn't been doctored. Who in the hell up here thinks that somebody's going to just take their word for it? Demons do, because they put a lot of investment into lying about people, although they know good and damn well evidence to the contrary exists. They just lie. We just saw this Travis Rudolph case. There you had an incompetent investigator. No, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that you're going to do your freaking job. And if you don't, I'm going to contact your department. I'm going to get somebody else to help me. Now, let me say this. Are we going to say 100% of the time things are going to go our way? No, that's what an investigation is for. But to have an attorney come up here and try to dissuade people from filing complaints because she says they're not going to be listened to, I think that's a huge disservice as an officer of the court. And you shouldn't be speaking like this. If you're going to come on YouTube and use your profession as a lead-in when you're making comments, what you say after that needs to be accurate. It needs to be appropriate. It needs to be just. It needs to be legal. It needs to have a foundation of the law behind you, and you don't. Even if you're a defense attorney, you can still defend your client without discouraging people from filing reports. What the hell is that? That's ridiculous. People, so TIFP is wrong. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you are not going to be heard if you make a report, whether it's with the police, whether it's with any sort of agency. If you're not getting what you think you need, not they don't listen to you and go and take a battering ram to someone's house, if they're discounting you, if you think they're throwing your reports away, if they're not even helping you in any way and you think you're being treated unfairly, go to the next level. I've had situations like that that have nothing to do with YouTube, and they had like a I don't give a shit attitude. That's okay. Somebody's going to give a shit. I go up the line. It's not even really that serious. In terms of complaints, okay, this is like, we don't want to deal with it. But guess what? This is an issue that you're going to take the time and you're going to do what you need to do. I think I did tell you all about that. There was a person that came to live over here that wasn't registered, and he got out of prison. Okay, fine. I don't care if you get out of prison, but he didn't register. The people that let him live there didn't register. It's required that you register if you're going to live here. Doesn't mean you can't have an issue, but they're going to run you for warrants. If you got out on parole and you're able to live here, you're able to live here. But you just can't come and live here. Then started wreaking havoc all over the place. Didn't like the association that was enforcing the rules, so he started keying cars all over the place. Okay, you're going to file that police report. I'm not going to pay my deductible and my insurance. All of the people here that were being impacted were making their reports, and the cops didn't give a damn. They didn't care. So guess what? We found police officers in that department who did care, and they came over here and they took reports for the people so they can file with victim witness and get reimbursed for the insurance deductible. I'm not paying for a criminal to damage my property if the cops aren't doing their job. It wasn't all this trauma going on. Okay, you don't want to do your job, we're going to report you. So several people reported the police, and they got the police over here to take our reports. We are so sorry. We apologize. That shouldn't have happened. If you're not going to do your job, I'm going to find somebody who is. So that's just one scenario throughout life when things like that happen. Yes, in every profession, you have people who don't belong there, but they're not going to be the ones that I'm going to go to if I encounter them or her, unless you get up in their face and try to act a fool and scream and hollering. I'm not doing that. I'm not getting in any cop's face that doesn't want to do his or her job. I wanted to go back to the tally and make sure it's clear this is my personal tally. Other people have filed complaints that we're aware of, including Gerald. If they want to disclose their tallies, they can. What I want to say, though, is there's a common denominator among us that none of us in any way would ever be dissuaded or intimidated or harassed or threatened out of exercising our rights. It doesn't matter what anyone else claims they have on us. I mean, if I had a complaint to file against somebody who I think is just, oh my goodness, the person is so horrible, I wouldn't be wasting time on YouTube trying to convince people that you have action. I would just file the complaint. But here's the deal. We don't concern ourselves with anything like that until the government or the agency or whoever we're dealing with tells us about it. We're not going to sit here and indulge blustering who are absolutely without content and don't have anyone else to talk about unless it's Rev G, unless it's AAS, unless it's Breaking the Culture of Silence, unless it's Stargate and a few other people. They have no content. They try so hard to hijack our methods, but our methods are not for cowards. Our methods are not for weaklings. How do you evaluate or determine a coward or yellow belly? Is when they have all of this vulgarity, verbal abuse and harassment, and constantly mentioning women's names. And I'm not talking about just there's an episode and it has to be addressed. It's making shit up and throwing people's names into it or getting angry when the women won't obey. Just because a woman initially has a pleasant demeanor doesn't mean she's a pushover and can be harassed and abused into submission. And when that fails, here come the bitches and the whores and the sluts. That's interesting. Oh, I love me some Stargate. Oh, I love me some Breaking. Now they're sluts, whores, and birds. But I already said it, people. I already called it. I called it very early on. Men don't act like this. Running hours-long live streams on women, and when an actual man has something to say to them or about them, nothing. Trying to tough talk in one scenario, and then when they get face-to-face or talking to the actual man, they just wilt like a limp noodle. But they seem to think that they're going to instill fear in women who won't obey them, who don't pay them any mind, over and over and over again, mentioning their names 40 times, 30 times in a live stream. And the woman is supposed to be afraid? No. The person is not even worth really addressing, which is why I don't put the person's name on my community wall. I don't do videos on the person, but the person is desperately trying to point fingers towards others to take responsibility for his own failings because he doesn't know how to even begin to exhibit the traits of an actual man. That's just what it is. And again, no one's standing in anybody's way. But what's not going to happen is running live streams and claiming you got this and that. That's not going to stop us from doing what we're going to do. We're not Carrie Ann. We're not Nikki. We don't break and run. The only time Gerald shut down his channel was law enforcement was investigating. They encouraged him to do it. It was his decision whether or not he wanted to take his channel offline because of the criminal investigation. Who's afraid of these people around here? I could see if someone is fearful. I could see this if you felt you had no option. Fear is mainly generated because you don't feel you have a choice. I have choices. There's no way in hell I'd ever sit around here fearful, thinking I don't have choices when people think they can threaten me. No, I have a tally here, and every single time I filed a complaint, I obtained a result. You can't dictate for me what result I'm looking for, what I think I should have. That's for me to decide. I was never ignored, not once. Do what you want to do. I do what I've been trained to do. I do what I've done for years. I help a great many people access their rights, whether they ultimately decide to file a complaint. It's their choice, but I'm not going to ever have a responsibility like off YouTube that I do for a living, and I'm going to come on any space, whether it's YouTube, anywhere, and let somebody violate my rights and issue threats against me. I'm going to get the authorities involved. Again, whoever out there that thinks you have a cause against me or Gerald or anyone else, we've never stood in anybody's way and never would. These subjects, these demons who go about trying to act like they have complaints against us, they just sit on YouTube and just complain and whine and moan and gripe. Their goal is to try to shut us up. They use these extortion tactics. I don't have to use extortion tactics to have anything. You take the time to build relationships that are meaningful. You have relationships that are meaningful. If somebody decides to stab you in the back, that's on them. And if it was about money, why isn't Dempsey running everything? Dempsey's been paying, you paid Umar $10,000 plus how many other flunkies? I'm poor, I don't have any money. I can't pay anybody. That's Dempsey's version. Who cares? People know these things don't make any sense. They just can't understand because they have no concept of someone just being a regular person. You're just being who you are. Someone who can't be bought and sold, who would never try to exploit somebody, who would offer somebody something as a means of expecting you're going to get something right back. And if you don't get it, you're going to throw it in their face. I'm not Nikki. I'm not Carrie Ann. That's not who I am. Never have been, never will be. Whoever knows me knows how I am. I don't have to come and prove anything to a demon. If demons want to think that I bought out the whole Umar Johnson sector, fine. Think what you want. But if it was about money, why didn't you succeed? You're just conceding that I'm more powerful than you. I know more than you do. Everybody listens to what I say. You're just self-defeating. Anybody that makes a statement like that, you are talking about your own inadequacies. Up here comparing yourself to a woman and saying a woman has control over her whole freaking sector. You are weaklings if you think and act like that. I can't even comprehend anybody actually thinking like this. That says everything about your feelings of failure. And before I go, I want to thank those out there, because this really does need to be said. As much as you talk so much crap about people who rock with me, no one that rocks with me, who really does support me, has ever caved to demons. That a demon can just get up on a platform and start harassing them with questions, right, about me, and they get so intimidated they decide to, quote, I'll put it in quotations, jump ship. Because if they're jumping ship, they never were on board to begin with. They had already a rickety life jacket around them and they were ready to just bail. It's always comes to be. People reveal themselves. But that's not anything to do with me. That's someone else making their decisions. People have a right to make their decisions. I'm not holding anybody. But you can't hold me. You can't force me to do anything. You can't force me to feel a certain way. You can't tell me who I can talk to. You can't tell me what content to post. You can't do any of that. Now, let me alert you to one scheme that the powerless try to put on you. They say, I dare you to say something, because they want you to say something. They want to try to control what content you put on your page. Like, we're being specific about a topic. You aren't going to say anything. They're still trying to control you. They try to put you in a catch-22. Well, they're not saying anything because they're scared. They're still trying to bait you. If you have to use these lame tactics, that means you're already defeated. Really not worth time addressing, especially by name. But these subjects always end up revealing themselves. This is why you let them talk. They have to come out and confess that they stabbed people in the back, that they tried to make think that they actually were their friends. I don't have to deal with anything like that. I don't have any answers. I don't have any explanations. If someone is treacherous and deceptive, that is their conduct. They are responsible for that. I don't have to explain anything. People, I don't mind telling anyone who I rock with anything. They know they can ask me, they'll get answers. I don't come here on YouTube and explain anything I don't want to explain. You just wait and see. The truth will be revealed. You can run with whoever you run with. You can go to whoever's platform. Go, have fun. I'm not stopping you. But I will call out danger when I see danger, and I did just that. And I will continue to do that. What people decide to do with that information, that's their own decision. Now, you know, people, I have more coming your way. In the meantime, you know the drill. Buyer beware.